welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a review of the new brand Treslúce Beauty. This is Becky G's new brand. It just launched this summer. I got a ton of products from this brand. I bought a bundle called the Becky Made Me Do It collection, which has the majority of the products in this brand. I have the eyeshadow palette, the 8-piece brush set, the eyeliners, I'm wearing lashes, and some of the lash tools as well. So I'll get into all of those products in the tutorial, but I want to start off with the I Am palette. This is a $30 palette and it has 18 shades. It has a really good mix of neutrals and colors, basically equal of both and equal of mattes and shimmers. So I'm just going to swatch all of the 18 shades of the palette. We're going to start off with the first row of 6 shades. We have some greens, yellows, and some neutral shades in there. And then the second row, I love the blues in here. Super gorgeous, colorful shades. And then we also have a beautiful matte purple shade that I think looks really great with the blues. And then lastly, we have our last row, which has mainly transition shades, kind of warm tones. We also have a hot pink and a copper shade. So those are all 18 shades in the palette. I'm gonna get right into the tutorial and share more about this whole collection. So we're gonna get right into the palette, and this palette retails for $30. And I actually just realized watching a bunch of Becky's videos on the Instagram that this palette, the mirror is detachable and it comes right off, and then it has the logo on the other side. So that's super cool if you just want to take the mirror out of the palette, or if you like to do your makeup like with your mirror really close up and you don't want to hold on to the palette. That's what she was talking about on Instagram, because I know I do that all the time. So that's just a little extra feature in the palette. And I'm going to start off with the shade Light, and I'm using the Like an Artista brush set. The brushes retail for $35 for all 8 brushes, and I'm going to use the biggest one. This is B110, and I'm using the shade Light, which is just a matte nude color, just to set my eyes. And I was looking on their Instagram, the Treslúce Instagram and Becky's Instagram, and also just watching some videos that she shared on YouTube. She did one with Kristen Dominique, just to learn a little bit more about the brand. Next, I'm gonna go in with the shade Resilient and the B100 blending brush. So I really wanted to know what Treslúce meant, because I'm like, did I forget Spanish? Is this just like a word? I don't know. But she just made up the word based off of tres, which is the number 3. And that's like her favorite number she was talking about on Kristen Dominique's YouTube. And then luce is like how things look. I think she gave the example like de luce bien, like it looks good. Like de luce, tres luce is basically what she said. So she just made up the word, in case you guys are curious, because I seriously thought this was just a Spanish word that I didn't know. There are a ton of Spanish words that I do not know. There are many that I do know, but there are some that just like slip my mind a lot of times, and I'm like, did I forget this word? Because I honestly thought it was a word I just forgot. But speaking of that, that is actually a lot of the reason why I admire Becky G. She's one of my favorite artists of all time, like especially in the last couple years. Like I loved her when she was really young and she came out with Shower like so many years ago. But then when she started getting into Latin music, I remember the first time I heard Mayores on the radio. I think it came out maybe 4 or 5 years ago, like 2017, 2018. And I'm like, who is singing this? And I was so shocked when I realized it was Becky G, because I just thought of her as a younger singer. I just thought of her from Shower and some songs that she had many years ago. Next, I'm using the B101 brush. I'm gonna use the shade Alma over here, this dark brown. So yeah, she came out with that song, Mayores, and I heard on the radio over and over, and I could not believe it was Becky G, just because it was the first time I think I heard her singing in Spanish, and then singing a completely different genre, different style and everything. And I'm pretty sure that was the first time I discovered Bad Bunny, and that is my all-time favorite artist at this point. And that song, like, I still have like such a soft spot for it. And then I think later that year, the next year, when she came out with Sin Pijama, and that music video was like one of the greatest music videos of all time. I think it has 1 billion views on YouTube. I want to say the year it came out, it was like the top viewed YouTube video. It was so good. And since then, I believe I've seen her in concert twice. I saw her once at Calibash, which is basically like Coachella, but all reggaeton artists. Like Daddy Yankee I've seen there, Bad Bunny I've seen there, Karol G, like all of these artists. It's like multiple days. Next, I'm using the B111 brush, and I'm gonna go in with this green shade Hustle, and I'm just gonna wet my brush to make it like really pop. I'm just using the Patrick Ta setting spray that I love so much. I'm just gonna spray that on. I think this is the best brush to use for this. I usually use a really flat crease brush, but I just wanna use like just these brushes for this look. So yeah, I saw her at Calibash a couple years ago. I remember she performed with Daddy Yankee. And then I also saw her, I believe 2 years ago. She was like a special guest artist at a Maluma concert. So I really hope I can see her again in concert in the next year or so, because I do have tickets to Calibash for next January. I have tickets for 2 nights. It's 3 nights, and I honestly want to go to all 3 nights. And it's one of those things where you don't know like the whole lineup. You know like some of the featured artists, but you don't know the full lineup. And sometimes I feel like there's like surprise guests, so I hope that she ends up being one of them. So I'm gonna go in with her bronze eyeliner. This one's in the shade Accomplished. And these eyeliners, they retail for, I believe, $12. This one is my favorite. Of the 3 that I have, I also have a black shade and a blue shade. These are super, super creamy gel eyeliners. They apply really nicely. So she has 15 shades total, and they're actually liners that you can use for both like your lips and your eyes. She has some of these in the same formula that are like lip colors, like a pink and a red. I'm just throwing on some mascara before I go in with her lashes. So she released 3 different lash styles. I'm gonna use the one in Sueño. And these are the ones that are a little bit more natural, a little bit more like fluffy lash. The rest of them are like super, super glam. She also has some lash tools. So she has this lash applicator that has a comb on one side. And this one retails for $8. And then she also has a lash case. And this retails for $12. The case just has a mirror and a place to put your lashes inside. I basically got a whole set from this collection. It's called the Becky Made Me Do It set, and it retails for $120. So it comes with the eyeshadow palette, the brushes, 3 pairs of lashes, and then the lash tools and the 3 eyeliners. Basically, the whole makeup line except just 3 out of the 15 eyeliners. So that is what I ended up getting because I wanted to try out a bunch of different products from her line. So I'm gonna use the lashes in Sueño. So while I'm waiting on my lash glue, I'm gonna use the shade Única and B121 on my lower lash line. I think I'm just gonna use the transition shades on my lower lash line. So lashes are on, and I also threw on a lip color, just a nude lip and a gloss. And then I'm just gonna finish up with my inner corner highlight and brow bone highlight. I'm gonna use the shade Divina over here. And this brush is the B102 brush. Just like an angled brush, which is perfect for both inner corner and brow bone. And then we are done with this look. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys all of my final thoughts once I finish this other eye. All right, so this is a finished look, and I always love to do the combination of green with a warm crease. I've actually done 2 Becky G Get the Looks probably years ago when she came out with different collections from ColourPop, and I'm pretty sure, actually I think my YouTube picture is a Becky G look that I did a few years ago that is green with a warm crease from her ColourPop palette a couple years back. So a lot of her palette is kind of reminiscent of that. She actually does wear a lot of colorful makeup. She always has, since I've always followed her. She's always done really bold makeup looks. I feel like a makeup brand really suits her. I was definitely not surprised to see she was coming out with a makeup line. I know a lot of people have very strong feelings when celebrities come out with beauty brands, skincare brands, makeup brands. But I felt like it was very on brand for Becky G because she's done a bunch of collections with ColourPop in the past, and you always see her wearing makeup. Like if you follow her on Instagram stories and stuff, you always see her wearing full glam makeup and sharing like different looks and stuff. So I felt like it totally made sense, and she always does wear like really colorful makeup as well. So I also think that the price point for this brand is actually really great. Like I purchased this palette several weeks ago, the day that it launched, and I totally forgot how much I spent on the collection. And when I looked back on how much everything costs, I was actually surprised that this palette was only $30 because it's the same as like, you know, a $50 palette. I would have had no problem paying for that. But overall, really happy with the shades and the formula. I think if you want to try anything from this brand, from this collection, definitely try out the eyeshadow palette. I also love just how compact it is. You get a lot of product in a small palette, and I definitely prefer palettes that are this size, something really sleek and compact. That's what I'm going to reach for more than like a bulky palette. So definitely check out the eyeshadow palette. Also the brushes, the brush set for $35 is awesome. I would get the palette and the brushes for sure. Oh, also the eyeliners. Basically, what I would probably skip personally are the lashes. These kind of feel a bit heavy, and these are the lightest lashes that she came out with. I wore the ones that were a bit bigger the other day, and they felt pretty heavy. I basically just wear like a Demi Wispy, a super natural lash all the time, like the most minimal eyelash. So I don't like lashes that have like that thick black band. I feel like they weigh my eyes down a little bit. So I would probably pass on the lashes and like the lash accessories. I kind of just wanted to get a bunch of things from this collection, and once I realized what I wanted to order, I'm like, let me get this whole kit for $120 because it's gonna be like the same price as everything else that I want. I actually want to try out some of the liners that are lip colors as well, because these are super creamy. Like this is the one that I'm wearing today. It just glides on so easily. Let me show you guys the black liner, because if you need a gel matte black liner, I feel like you would really like that. Glides on so nicely. So other than that, I did want to mention that I was really excited for this brand because it's Becky G, and then it's also a Latino-owned brand. She is Mexican-American. I think she's second generation Mexican-American. I love everything that she's about. She's super into her culture and just representing Latino artists and being an advocate for the Latino community. She is just such an awesome person. If you're not familiar with Becky G, like I love everything she's about. And a lot of this palette is in Spanglish, like both English and Spanish, and so is she. And I think she's really inspiring, especially to like first, second, third generation Latino Americans and people who are children of immigrants who maybe grew up with like speaking both languages or maybe are perfectly comfortable in Spanish, because that was her. She has gotten so much better in Spanish over the years, and she's not afraid to do interviews in Spanish even though her Spanish isn't perfect. So I think she's really inspiring in that way too. So I personally love her for that. I love that she started in Latin music, or went into Latin music not knowing Spanish fully and not being completely fluent in it, and just kind of getting better with time and like letting us see that process, because I know a lot of us who are children of immigrants struggle with that. I know I personally struggle with that, and I'm like the first person in my family who was born and raised in the US, so my Spanish is the worst out of every person in my family because my siblings were also raised in South America. And so I still struggle with that. The only reason like I still speak Spanish as an adult is, well, one, I speak it with my mom all the time or every single day, but I also listen to Latin music every single day. So it keeps like everything like fresh in my brain every day, especially if I'm not getting to speak it like hours and hours throughout the day. So that's what makes me really admire her too. I just think she's really great representation or just a really great role model, even though I'm like, I think like 5 or 6 years older than her. I feel like she's a role model to me. So that's basically everything about Treslúce Beauty, the new collection. Definitely check out the eyeshadow palette and the brushes. They are so good. You'll definitely see more looks with them both on my channel and my Instagram. I have one going on my Instagram this week as well, so stay tuned for that. But that's gonna be everything for today's video. If you guys liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.